Hey guys, Lewis here, and today we're going to be talking about a big topic on this channel. We're going to be discussing the menopause and the effects that it has on women, on their fat loss journey, and being able to get more confident in their bodies. For those of you who don't know who I am the owner and founder of the Lemon Frog Fitness Company, and I have been doing this now and helping women in person and online for well over 8 years. And in that time, I've helped hundreds of women, like I said, in person, online, all over the world, be able to lose body fat and feel more confident in their bodies and in the gym. Now, I'd say a good 70 to 80% of my clients are women who's going through the menopause or have gone through the menopause, but that hasn't stopped us getting absolutely amazing results. One that comes to mind is I have a client that I'm working with at the moment, and before coming to me, she was actually told by her previous trainer at the time to give up trying to lose weight and lose body fat and get in shape because she would never do that. Because she's going through the menopause and stuff, like he was just saying, give up. It's not going to happen for you. Like, give up on that dream and just accept how you look. Since working with me, she's lost 18 pounds and she's lost 11 centimeters just off of her waist. Not bad for someone that's told to give up and basically throw away any hope of feeling confident in their body right again. And she's dropped down 2 dress sizes. She's feeling more confident than she ever has. She can finally feel happy looking in the mirror, whereas before she would cover it up, right? So again, just because you're going through the menopause or have gone through the menopause, it doesn't mean it's game over for you. You can still get incredible results. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through with you everything that you need to know about the menopause and what it is that you need to do to be able to see results, just like my clients have as well. So one of the main issues when it comes to the menopause and the negative effects that has on your body is because your ovaries stop producing estrogen. Now, estrogen is a vital hormone to how you feel. Particularly, it has a really good positive effect basically on your dopamine and your serotonin levels, right? These are your feel-good hormones. So if your estrogen levels have been brought down a lot because your ovaries have stopped producing it, this is why a lot of women tend to struggle around this time. They feel like their moods are a lot lower. They feel more upset, more emotional and things. And it's because of estrogen's positive effect that it used to have on those levels, that has massively declined. And this is a huge reason why when women get to menopause age, this is the highest rate for suicide, right? Because it has such a positive effect on those hormones and stuff, and women are going through all these changes that it just negatively affects them, right? So obviously when that happens and those feel-good hormones have been down-regulated and you don't feel as good, this tends to increase your appetite, right? Like, you're looking for comfort food. You want something to taste good, to feel good, to light up your brain and get a little bit of pleasure, because food has that impact on our dopamine system too, right? That reward system. So this is where women typically start going towards more comfort foods and stuff because they're feeling a little bit more low. So that's one of the main things that happens with estrogen. But not only that, but estrogen levels, they are very positive for a hormone called leptin. Now, leptin is our fullness hormone, right? So when we have good leptin levels, it sends a signal to our brain from our stomach to say we're full. We don't need to be searching for food, right? And not only that, but estrogen also sends its very own leptin-like signal, right? It's not leptin itself, but it's a signal like leptin to signal to the brain like we're good, we're full, we don't need any extra food, right? But now that the estrogen levels have dropped, obviously that's had a negative effect on your leptin, but also that leptin-like signal. So what we're dealing with now, right, is we're dealing with lower moods because of the feel-good hormones being impacted. And now we're also dealing with hunger, right? Because again, leptin levels are being reduced. So this is typically why women start to struggle with food a little bit more around this time too. Another positive that estrogen has on the body is it inhibits fat storage in the abdomen area, right? That visceral fat. So this is what then gets coined as the meno belly, right? You'll see it. Body fat change patterns start to change, right? So women in their younger years will typically start storing body fat around their thighs and hips, and this is to help with birthing and stuff like that. But as they start to go through the menopause, they'll start noticing a shift in that. And that's because estrogen has been down-regulated, right? And we know that it inhibits fat storage around this area, but also our body looks for other ways in which it can produce estrogen. And one way it can do that is by increasing the number of fat cells around the stomach area. And then that's where we start to store body fat, right? The main thing that you need to know is a calorie deficit is still a calorie deficit. Just because you're going through the menopause, you're not going to magically start putting on body fat. It doesn't happen like that. But because of the effects it has on your mood, because of your appetite, because of your seeking for comfort food, and now your body's changing, it's hormones that you're storing body fat here, that's where the body fat starts to accumulate, right? So it starts to have negative effects there as well. And then the other things that it can also impact, I said it was a lot, right? Estrogen does a lot of good for the body. So this is why a lot of women go through these struggling phases at the menopause. But it has really good positive effects on basically building muscle tissue, right? So again, if we're losing our estrogen levels, we're losing our ability to maintain muscle mass. And if we're not doing weight training regularly, we are going to lose muscle mass, which then we're going to end up having more body fat, right? Not only that, but this is why also women have negative effects on their bones as well. So estrogen has very positive effects in increasing your bone density, right? So not only are we hungry, are we feeling like, I'm saying we, like I'm going through this, I don't mean it like that. Not only are you experiencing more hunger, like lower in mood, lower in energy, losing muscle mass, like bone density is going down, right? Your appetite hormones are out of sync. So it's no wonder that you start to struggle around this point and feel more lethargic and like unable to get the results that you want, right? It becomes very difficult because of this reason. So what we need to be aware of is those effects that take place, they are reversible, right? It doesn't mean that you have to just accept that that's going on. Like we can see positive effects still. It is just going to be a little bit harder for you at this stage because of what your body's going through, okay? And this is, to be fair, this is without even talking about like all the symptoms of menopause, like night sweats, hot flashes, stuff. You got all that sort of stuff to deal with as well, right? But if we're just strictly talking about the effects that it has on your body fat percentage and like how you're feeling and stuff, we can see why women start to gain weight and get out of shape and struggle, right? But the thing that you can do, like, firstly, I'm going to say I'm not a doctor, but HRT is going to work wonders. HRT is going to, if you don't know what it is, hormone replacement therapy, right? So if you're someone who's going to go through the menopause or going through the menopause, HRT will stop this from happening, okay? Because it's giving you replacement hormones to stop that from happening. So this can stop those negative effects and make you feel a lot better. Now, like I said, I'm not a doctor. You need to go speak to a physician about this and explore the options of it. But I've had many clients who haven't taken HRT from when they first started the menopause. In fact, I was having a conversation with my client the other day and she was like, you need to get it out there how beneficial HRT is. She was like, my doctor told me the other day, if I got on this earlier, I wouldn't have osteoporosis now, right? And it is just the case, right? We can reverse and stop these symptoms from happening by simply going on HRT. Now, obviously there is that worry of like breast cancer. You've probably heard about that, right? So if you do have a history of breast cancer in your family, it's advisable obviously to, well, you've got to speak to your doctor anyway, but explore the options with your doctor. However, from what I've read and what I've studied, the risk of dying from a cardiovascular disease, so something I left out, I guess, is when you start going through the menopause, women's rate of heart attack and stroke and everything starts to go through the roof. And before that, men are much more higher risk. And that's because we store our body fat here, whereas women store it in the lower legs and stuff, right? So what happens is after the menopause, you're at a higher risk of dying from a cardiovascular disease. And again, from my readings and my studying and stuff, you've got a higher chance of being impacted by cardiovascular disease than you do with breast cancer. But again, it's something that you're gonna have to speak to your doctor, but I wanted to put out that HRT thing for you because honestly, I've seen the difference in clients when they haven't been taking it versus taking it, or my clients that do take it versus don't, right? And it doesn't matter if you're not getting hot flashes and stuff like that, like that's not why you take HRT. It's to stop brittle bone disease. It's to stop you losing muscle mass. It's to stop the body fat pattern changing. It's to have a good positive effect on your brain and things like that, right? So that's why it's there. So now we understand what negative effects happen during the menopause. And like I said, it's all down to the estrogen levels being dropped. Like all those positive effects it used to have on you have now been stopped and ceased. The things that you need to do to be able to see great results is the same as any other woman. It doesn't matter if they're premenopausal, it doesn't matter if they've got a menstrual cycle or not. It's the same thing. People like to overcomplicate it by saying that you need to do certain stuff. You need to eat a certain way. You need to train a certain way. You don't. You need to do exactly the same thing as everyone else, right? So because we know that energy levels start to drop, that we start to get more hungry, we start to lose muscle mass and stuff, right? The things that I would give to any client is the exact same things I would give to you. That's that we need to increase your protein in your diet, right? Protein is the most satiating thing that we can eat, which means it's going to fill you up more than any other macronutrient that you consume, right? So if you're not eating enough protein, you're going to struggle with hunger and cravings a lot more. Again, I'm working with hundreds of women like each year and stuff. The main thing that I noticed with them is, well, to be fair, I had a conversation with one of my clients the other day. She's telling me that she's struggling with feeling full for the first time in her life because of how much protein she's eating now. She's eating less calories than she's ever eaten, but she's also in the same breath feeling like she's eaten the most she's ever eaten because she feels so full. And that's because she got her protein levels right. So that's what you need to do as well. You need to prioritize your protein in your food because that's going to keep you full and keep those cravings at bay. The next thing that we need to do is we need to weight train regularly. You need to be lifting heavy weights at least 3 times per week. That is going to give you a great benefit of one, making sure that you maintain muscle mass, but also build it as well, right? Now, I'm not going to say you need to build muscle mass because you're going to burn extra hundreds of calories a day. Like, this is false. Like, yes, muscle tissue burns more calories than body fat, but it's not hundreds. Like, we're looking at tens of extra calories, which yes, does add up over the years, of course, but we need to build muscle mass because we want to look good, we want to feel good, we want to be strong. And this just plays into everything about how we feel, right? So it's going to do wonders in terms of that. It's not like it's going to give you a massive kick in your metabolism and stuff. Yes, it has a beneficial effect, but like I said, it's not hundreds, it's just a slight increase, right? So we need to be doing weightlifting for that, but also to protect our bone density. Weightlifting has been shown time and time again to help reverse the effects of osteoporosis, right? It does take time, like you're looking at 2 years of consistent training to start seeing positive effects on your bone density. But nevertheless, we know that it has a great impact on that, right? So we need to be doing that as well. And then we need to make sure that you're moving a lot. Like I spoke about earlier, when you start feeling a little bit more down, like you feel a little bit more emotional, your energy's been taken down, and this is all because estrogen's been stopped being produced by the ovaries, we start to move a little bit less, right? We start to fidget less. I keep saying we like I'm going for it. You start to move less, you start to fidget less and all that sort of stuff. So this is why we need to make sure that you're getting your steps up, right? Because if you're moving less every single day, you're going to be burning fewer and fewer calories, which means that what once could have been a calorie deficit for you and losing body fat is now you're gaining weight, because you're not burning as many calories as you were, but you're eating the same amount, so you start gaining body fat, right? So this is why we need to make sure that you're getting your steps in every single day as well, okay? So as we can see, there isn't anything different. Like I would tell anyone, eat more protein, make sure you weight train consistently, make sure you get your steps in, be in a calorie deficit. That's what we need to do, and that's what you need to focus on. This is all I've ever done with all my clients. Bev lost 60 pounds. Emma, we helped her lose 10% of her original body weight. Dawn, who I mentioned earlier. Then we've got Jill, who has lost 55 pounds of her weight. Jane, who for the first time in her life wore a bikini. First time ever in her life, right? And again, we didn't do anything magical. We just focused on these fundamentals and they saw these amazing results. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on is, although HRT can obviously be a benefit to going through the menopause and stop some of these symptoms, it's not like a plaster to the solution, right? I don't know if that's the right term or not, but again, I'm sure you know what I mean. We can't just stick a plaster over it and expect it to be like giving us all these results. You still have to put the work in elsewhere. You can't expect to just take HRT and your body fat starts dropping, your muscle starts building and stuff. Like, that's not going to happen. It's just going to help along with the situation. You still have to put the work in and you still have to be consistent in absolutely everything that you do about what we've discussed in this video. But it's also going to be added help towards it and how you feel, okay? And one final thing that I did forget to mention is it also negatively impacts on your testosterone levels. So over 50% of your testosterone levels will be produced in the ovaries. Now, when that stops to produce, basically that's going to have a negative impact again on your strength. It's going to have a negative impact on your muscle mass and also your energy levels, right? So again, we can see how going through the menopause affects three key main things to be able to keep us nice and toned, to be able to make sure that you're nice and energized, and to keep you strong in the gym as well, right? So we just need to be aware of that that's also a negative impact that it will have. So I think that's pretty much everything covered in this video about the menopause and what it is that you need to know. But I just want to say again, I promise you can still get results. There is nothing stopping you from getting results. There's nothing fancy that you need to do either. You just need to be doing the basics consistently and working hard as well, because it does take effort and it is going to take a lot of time and consistency to be able to get there, right? Now, what I'm going to do for you is in the link below, if you've stayed and watched this entire video, then you're in luck, because below I'm going to link my 5-step guide to helping you reduce cravings, right? Because if you're someone struggling with your appetite, if you're someone struggling with cravings, this guide's going to be amazing to help you tackle that and get that under control. And then I'm also going to link in there a workout guide as well. So if you don't know what to do in the gym, you don't know how to perform exercises, and you feel quite unconfident in being able to lift weights, this guide's going to cover that for you, and it's going to help you decide what you need to do, give you a foolproof blueprint of what you need to follow, and how to do the exercises correctly as well. So download those guides, they'll help you massively. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about how you can tone up and lose body fat and get confident in your body in the gym, then make sure that you drop this channel a like, make sure you subscribe to the bell notification, and I think that's pretty much everything. I'll see you in the next video.